Hi, Bill Henshaw here again, your constitutional kook. And more current events, we got another recent decision of the 9-0 part to the U.S. Supreme Court in a case called Ohio versus Amex, American Express. Now, this is a recent one. I have yet to have a chance to thoroughly review it, and I'll have more to say about that when I do. But the interesting part here is the court held for the first time, and apparently in so doing, it overruled a couple of earlier decisions because some of the states out there are getting so poor for quote-unquote money that they're getting desperate to tax anything in sight. And up until now, they have not, for example, been able to tax sales on the internet, like Amazon or eBay or what have you. Well, now they're going to be able to do that. And there are some very interesting constitutional issues that arise in that context, but you can be damn sure that they didn't arise on either side of this opinion that's in the court. Because here again, if I'm right about there being no states, well, I mean, what the hell, then it doesn't matter, because the big deal here was that the court ruled doesn't matter if you're a Delaware corporation or whatever and you don't have a presence in California or Montana or whatever, the state can still not only tax, your saleable events there, the sales and things that you make, but they can pass it directly on to the purchasers, which is you and me, and force us to pay the taxes directly to the state of California or what have you, rather than have to go a long way around before the state gets their taxes. So the potential for difficulty with this decision is enormous. But like I say, none of the real questions got asked here. So it remains to be seen as to how that goes if and when they come up. So yeah, you have that whole big deal. And again, if you have, and most of the corporations these days are Delaware, by the way, they have a land office business. They're creating all these corporations. But again, with my unopposed issue, there's no states. If Delaware is not a state, guess what? The corporation hasn't been created by a state. And therefore, it can't go into federal courts, at least federal judicial courts. It has no standing to be there. A huge big deal, because they get in there often by conveniently using the diversity of citizenship statute under Title 28. Well, no states, no diversity. That's a no-brainer. You can't do it. And even if and when they get there, I've got good case law that says that they can only raise legislative questions. You or I, being beneficiaries of the trust known as the United States, not to mention members of the sovereign body politic of the nation and republic, can access the judicial power of the United States. And if we had states, we could access the judicial power of the state. Extremely important, because now we can ask some real issues that we want to get decided. And for example, you may wonder how when you do business with some of these bigger corporations, they can force you to sign a waiver waiving all your rights, like trial by jury and settling everything by arbitration. How is that possible that an artificial corporate entity, even if the 14th Amendment existed, which it doesn't, would have the power to force you, in effect, with a government gun to your head, to waive rights secured by the Constitution? I mean, my gosh, look at the preamble of the Constitution. It says it was ordained and established to establish the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Not IBM, not Apple, not Chase Bank, us. And yet these corporations think it's a matter of us doing business with them. And by the way, they were chartered. The whole thing with having corporations is that they are supposedly out there for the good of the public. We're the public. That's their first job, is to serve us. If they don't do that, what we could do in earlier times, and I'll talk more about this in another video, but there's a common law writ called quo warranto. And that used to be available, and you could question the corporate charter and say, what the hell are you people doing? You're set up, to make your services available to the public, and yet you think you can pick and choose who it is you want to serve, and those who don't agree with your terms and conditions are out of luck. No, it can't work that way. If we have a right to trial by jury, then you're damn well subject to it. Anything we want to take in front of a jury, we're going to do, and you probably won't have standing if we do it. That's a bit of a problem, but it's a good problem for us, because that's us exercising the power that we have. So this is how big of a deal that this is. And again, we're not going to get to it in this case, unfortunately, but that's the type of issues that we need to raise, and the type of issues that I do raise in my document packets. And you can get information on those, by the way, very modestly priced document packets, ccaspari at live.com. And you set the whole thing up from the beginning. And then if we get to appeals or appellate review, which could happen, now we're going to have some real issues to raise that are not going to be harmless error. These are going to be constitutional rights that we have, that we try to invoke timely. And it's especially bad for them if the clerk of court doesn't even file the documents. I mean, my goodness, it can't get any clearer. If we don't have any way to go in there and challenge jurisdiction, why bother to have a trial? They're not going to identify the jurisdiction. They're not going to identify the elements of the crime, the injured party, and what have you. Why bother to have a trial? Just convict us and get it over with. Skip all the nice things. It doesn't make any sense. But then again, if it did that, as I said before, I think that the heirs of Joseph Stalin would have a hell of a case for copyright infringement on show trials like this. I mean, they would have a very good case. I'd vote for them. So that said, I'll have more to say about this one after I get a chance to review the case more thoroughly. But I just wanted to get you up to speed on what the issues should have been as opposed to what they are. When you start doing that kind of thinking, that's when the parts of the puzzle come all together and you say, my God, what the hell is going on here? So more about it next time. Thank you.